Hello friends, today I want to introduce you to a city that is built on a hill in the wider Great Zabdalina River Valley. This is El-Amadiya, or as it is also called El-Amadiya. Sometimes you look at a photo of some strikingly beautiful place on our planet and think that the picture or edited, or is it built almost from scratch scenery for the movie? Then you check the information and are surprised to find that there is no deception. So the pictures of this Iraqi town are just like that. To begin with, in different sources this town is called both a town and a village, but to my mind, 8,000 residents justify the status of a small town. The name is perhaps as much of a jumble as the status of a settlement. Somewhere it is El-Amadiya, but other sources call it El-Amadiya, but let's agree that I will call it both. What is so surprising about this little town in Iraqi Kurdistan? Of course, what is most striking in the pictures is the fact that El-Amadiya sits on the flat top of a mountain, about 1,400 meters above sea level. The city resembles an eagle's nest and offers an excellent view of the valley below. By the way, there are many places in its vicinity that are ideal for admiring the local mountain scenery, majestic and fascinating. One can only envy the locals who live on the outskirts of the settlement, whose windows offer incredible views. The city is 1,000 meters long and 500 meters wide. It can safely be called one of the oldest cities with unchanged boundaries, for obvious reasons, because it has nowhere to expand, as its boundaries were formed by nature itself with steep cliffs. El-Amadiya is a border town located about 570 kilometers north of Baghdad and in close proximity to the border with Turkey. It is less than 20 kilometers away, but remarkably, the way there is blocked by mountains. The only passage to Turkey today is 90 kilometers from El-Amadiya. The city has a rich and interesting history. To tell it in more or less detail would require a separate video, so we will confine ourselves to the most curious points. The settlement has been known since the beginning of the 3rd millennium BC. For a long time, it was only possible to get there by a narrow staircase carved in stone. Throughout its history, El-Amadiya was influenced by the various nations and states in the region, as it was an excellent stronghold and the possession of such an impregnable city was of strategic importance. From 1276 to 1843, in the territory of modern Iraq, Turkey and Iran existed a powerful Kurdish emirate of Batman. For a long time it was El-Amadiya, and Jews and Muslims and Christians coexisted peacefully in the city. It was possible because of the emirate's policy of tolerating different religions. And even after it ceased to exist, the situation remained the same for some time. Nowadays, a large part of the population is made up of Muslim Kurds, in addition to the Christians living in the city. Thanks to them, there is a liquor store in El-Amadiya. By the way, the relationship between the two very different religions is still good neighborly. And now let's move to modern times and talk about how you can see this amazing place with your own eyes. Traveling in Iraq is not an easy task, and it is worth understanding that in some places it is not the most stable region. Nevertheless, tourism in El-Amadiya is well developed in principle, but is designed more for locals. Foreigners are rare. In addition, you should understand that you cannot just open the internet and easily book tickets to the city, as well as a place in the hotel, especially at this time, but still try to make a kind of route. The first destination will be a city in northern Iraq, Erbil, which is the capital of the autonomy of Iraqi Kurdistan. Flights go to it from most major cities, European and CIS countries. The next point is located 150 kilometers away, the city of Dohuk. It can be reached by car and possibly by bus. I couldn't find any exact information. And here we are 70 kilometers away from the mountain town in the picture. From Dohuk there are buses, but they are very few. Therefore you need to have unusual luck in order to use them further. That leaves us with two main options. First, hitchhiking sounds like a risky scam, but in reality it is much safer than it seems at first glance. The second option, again, a rental car or cab. And you can take a cab together, that is, you choose the car, and it will go to El-Amadiya when it has enough passengers. The trip takes about an hour and a half, but then you are lucky with the traffic jams. It is worth noting that all the cities along the way, starting from Erbil, are incredibly interesting in terms of tourism, and in general Iraqi Kurdistan is able to satisfy the demands of even avid travelers, as a large part of Kurdistan is Mesopotamia, the region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, where the greatest civilizations of the ancient world arose. The nature, though not diverse, is amazing and beautiful in its own way. But back to the eagle's nest. Climbing up the narrow staircase carved in stone now, of course, is not necessary. There is a good paved road. There are no hotels directly in El-Amadiya, but you can find them 2 to 3 kilometers from the city if you move towards Dohuk. A room there will cost you about $17. Also, if you want, you can negotiate with the locals who live in the neighborhood, and certainly for the more extreme, there is even an option of a free overnight stay in the city. Locals are ready to let guests into the mosque without any problems, but you will have to sleep on the carpet at the entrance. Seasoned travelers can hardly be frightened by this, but as practice shows, the best option is to stay in the settlements located on the side of El-Amadiya, and it's from them you have an incredible view of the mountain town. It is a special good luck to have dinner in a restaurant and enjoy the natural scenery and the view of El-Amadiya. If we forget about the ancient history of the beautiful scenery, El-Amadiya is quite an ordinary town. It has everything you need for a more or less comfortable stay: stores, restaurants, a youth club, a police station, and other government offices. The population is only 8,000, and there is no way to increase it. On the contrary, the natives are often forced to leave. The fact is that the city cannot be expanded, so no new housing can be built. There are simply no plots of land available for that. The main items of income are local, agriculture, services, and to a lesser extent tourism. And people go not so much to the city itself. It is just lucky to be surrounded by important attractions and resorts. In addition, the inhabitants of El-Amadiya are trying to register the city in the UNESCO World Heritage List in order to preserve the existing monuments and subsequently turn them into places popular with tourists from all over the world. El-Amadiya is a wonderful and hospitable place, teaching antiquities from different eras and landscapes that are sure to please those who can't imagine their life without mountains. And one would hope that local residents will be able to get through to UNESCO, to get money for the restoration of everything that is in need, and to attract the attention of tourists from different countries. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video and I was able to show you another amazing corner of our planet that you may not have known about. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.